The Starry Night, Vincent Willem van Gogh. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Do you think the artist was inspired by this lullaby to create this painting? Of course not, I'm just kidding. But if you do look at the night sky, those stars do shine like gemstones, and the moon glows brightly like the sun. The clouds all tangled up in the wind, creating playful swirls. Even the trees in the village on the ground look like they're spinning around. Everything in this painting looks like it's in motion. The painting is called The Starry Night and is one of the most famous artworks in the world. In fact, you might see the image appear in many places, from pencil cases to notebooks, skirts or t-shirts, pillows, cups, home decorations, and many other items. Vincent van Gogh's greatest masterpiece is everywhere for people to see. Van Gogh was born and raised in a pastor's family in the Netherlands. He had the chance to live comfortably as an art dealer, or he could have become a respected pastor, but ultimately he chose the life of a professional painter. Even though his artworks are extremely valuable now, back then no one wanted to buy his paintings, so Van Gogh was always living day to day with financial support from his younger brother Theo. Van Gogh was constantly on the move, traveling from his native country, Netherlands, to Belgium, and then from Paris and France. In 1888, he again decided to move to Paris, to the southern French countryside, where the weather was warmer and in the brighter sunlight. Van Gogh was mesmerized by the vibrant colors of Provence, and he remained there until he passed away in 1890. At the time of painting this picture, Van Gogh was suffering from effects of his mental illness. He stayed at the St. Paul Asylum in St. Remy and was given permission by the doctors there to paint. Inspired by what he saw from the view outside his room window and his imagination, he painted this incredible picture that we see today. He wrote in a letter to his younger brother, "This morning I saw the countryside from my window a long time before sunrise, with nothing but the morning star, which looked very big." Through this window, he looked out and captured the scenery beyond, painting images of different times of day and weather, including sunrise, moonrise, sunny and bright days, windy and rainy days. This also includes the night sky. In a letter to his friend Bernard, he referred to this painting as another failure. But we wish that he could have just seen how many people love this painting. Van Gogh's paintings start to collect some very bright colors as he began his life in southern France, with shades of blue, yellow, and purple popping up in his artworks. In his 2 years of living in Arles, he was at the peak of his creative productivity, producing 200 paintings and more than 100 drawings and watercolors in total. That's roughly one new painting in every day and a half. Around 150 of those paintings were made during his stay at the St. Paul Asylum in St. Remy. He used his paintbrush to capture that sky, earth, sunlight, the countryside, and of course the starry nights there for us to admire. This is not Van Gogh's first or only image of a starry night. This painting is called Starry Night over the Rhone, which is on display at the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. When he first arrived in Arles, Van Gogh wrote to his brother with ideas of a starry night painting, saying, "I need a starry night with cypresses, or perhaps above a field of ripe wheat. There are some really beautiful nights here." During his time in Arles, Van Gogh lived with a painter and friend Gogh briefly. However, Van Gogh's mental condition went downhill after a breakdown of his friendship with Gauguin. One of the arguments may have resulted in Van Gogh cutting off part of his ear. His mental health became worse after this incident. Some scientists suggest that his mental illness made him see things in a different way to normal people, and this unique perspective of the night sky allowed him to paint an extraordinary scene of the starry sky. Some people think that the village in this painting is based on Van Gogh's memories of his Dutch homeland, or perhaps taken from his sketch of the town of Saint Remy. What we do know is Van Gogh created a fictional scene because the view from the window of his bedroom at the St. Paul Asylum looked very different. Van Gogh's younger brother Theo was his lifelong friend and supporter. Theo was also an art dealer with a great vision which recognized his brother's talent and believed in him when no one else did. Theo's financial and emotional support allowed his brother to continue working on his art until Van Gogh's tragic death. Soon after, about 6 months after Van Gogh, Theo also passed away. The lifelong friendship of these two brothers and Van Gogh's thoughts and theories about art were documented in hundreds of letters they wrote to each other between 1872 and 1890. Theo kept more than 600 letters from Van Gogh wrote to him. Much of what we know about the great painter comes from the letters that were edited and published by his wife Joanna in the book after Theo passed away.